The Savage one fights in 2.5 weeks. Elf, can you believe she's fighting in a couple weeks? It's happening. Gillian the Savage Robertson's back on Fight Bananas. Cannot wait. G, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Like you just said it, we're 2.5 weeks out. It could be better, right?
It's close.
I'm so excited. Honestly, like that's just been the vibe this week. Even yesterday, I was talking to my sports psychologist, and I just feel like I couldn't stop saying, like, I'm just excited. I'm just excited. I'm just so excited. I honestly, I just can't wait to fight. Like, I get to fight in 2.5 weeks.
Let's go.
I apologize for this.
Enjoy it all. I don't really get too bad at like watching people eat stuff. I always order my boyfriend cookies and things like that.
And you're like, take a bite of the cookie now.
Yeah, well, so like my favorite places is either Night Owl or the Salty Donut. And they have like donuts or cookies that come in like in season. So they're only going to be here for like a couple weeks. So if he doesn't try them, I'll never know how they taste. So I need somebody to let me know how they taste. Exactly. So he's my victim in that case.
What a good man. What a good man.
Exactly. Force him to eat all the sweets.
Yes.
Grant will like smell my pizza. He's like, oh, now take a bite. And he'll just watch me eat it. I'm like, are you okay over there?
It's so funny when you're actually like, right now my body like needs food. Like I'm going meal to meal. Whenever I'm eating, it's like I feel like I need it. And when it's like that, food just tastes so much better.
Oh yeah. Like then plain chicken and rice is like.
Exactly. I'm sitting there, I'm eating it, and I can't stop myself being like, and just eating plain things.
Gee, I don't know if you were here last time when I think it was just Elle and Maddie. They think they're going to tape me. I'm going to do a weight cut, and they're going to tape me and do a certain thing, and I have to make the weight. And
that'll be on the Fight Bananas OnlyFans, guys.
Yeah,
I'm only through the OnlyFans.
It's going to be pictures of Elle's dump truck, me cutting weight, and us reading the Bible. That's going to be us.
It's literally just going to be a plastic dump truck. It's going to be me like playing with it.
All right. So there's so much I want to talk to G about and us about. One, we really just hammered the PFL for the last 15 minutes. But G, if you got something on that, we can give you that one. But before we do that, real quick, I talked about before both of you guys came on, and I think both of you guys know me really well about how positive I usually am about us and MMA and everything. But there was a female fight on UFC Vegas 99. And after watching this fight, both of these ladies should be cut from the roster. How is Edwards and Vidal in the UFC? How is this fight happening? Edwards missed weight again. She's like not interested or fun. Am I off on this, guys? It's like you're lowering ourselves of having these two girls on the roster.
I will say, to be fair to Edwards, I thought this was the best she's ever looked.
Which is like, not. Yeah.
Well, I was impressed from her past performances. I've just like been very underwhelmed. And this one I was like, Edwards is actually showing up more than she ever has in her past fights. Of course she didn't make weight, but I'm like, I feel like that was probably one of her better performances.
I won't disagree with that. But yeah, Dave, you know what's crazy to me is last week or the week before last, they cut Corey McKenna, who is really young, really talented, and was only on like a 1 or 2 fight losing streak.
Yeah.
And has never lost more than 2 in a row.
And that was a good fight. Like she wasn't dominated. It was a close fight. She lost. Everyone takes a loss. Islam Makhachev got knocked out. We all take losses. And they cut her?
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I went and I Googled her record, I was like, how is that even possible?
I thought she was doing really well.
She was just 3-3. So it's like she even had like a neutral record. She didn't even have a losing record. She was 3-3. I was confused by that one.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, and we all both know this, there's a ton of stuff behind the scenes and, politics or work. But
for sure.
If I say this,
sweetheart though, one of the nicest people I've ever met.
I've talked to Corey 4 times. She's super nice. So like, how can she's not going to be nice to us at Fight Bananas or each other and be pissy to the UFC.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
It was bizarre.
It doesn't make sense at all.
I would agree with your statement, Dave. If they're going to cut somebody like her,
those girls
probably, at least Vidal probably needs to go off the
They
lot.
were
like
so bad. And this is like the third time she missed weight. Like they don't need to, like, I'm trying to say this the nicest way possible. The UFC roster is so big and so good. There's so many good fighters. And we say this all the time. Like, I feel like sometimes good fighters need to wait a week because there's only so many slots on a card. These two ladies are taking up spots. They're
devil's advocate. There are a ton of fighters on the roster, but very few of them are female bantamweights. So that division is not loaded.
Got to bring in the 05ers.
It's happening. You hear Dana talk about it finally?
It's not the first time he said that.
But I see momentum.
He's been saying that for years. I'll believe it when I see it.
I think it's time, though. Honestly,
I agree.
There's so many girls that I know now that are 105ers that are just like, yeah, but I have nowhere to go, really. You know, like the UFC isn't open, and it's like there's Invicta, ONE FC. Like, there's not a lot of big organizations
and one isn't even really atom weight because they get 10 extra pounds. So a lot of those girls
to 15.
Yeah.
Other than Kayla at bantamweight, do you think any of those? You think Juliana can make flyweight?
No.
I don't know. I've never seen her in person. I don't know how big
dense.
she is.
She looks dense, like because she's not like the leanest. She's not like as shredded as Kayla, but she's definitely like dense. You can tell she is
thick.
She's not flabby, you know?
I definitely thought that with Misha Tate too, though, and she's made 25. So I would say they're similar sizes in my mind.
When did Misha make flyweight though? I'm trying to think.
I think it was after her pregnancies even. It might have been before.
That happens to a lot of girls. Mackenzie Dern had trouble making weight before her pregnancy, and then after she's looked in incredible shape. So it definitely happens, you know. Let's see. 20-9. That's a good record.
Who is?
Misha Tate.
Yeah.
She fought Jessica.
Misha gets like a bad rap in a way. I like who she fought to, like, and then she always lost to Ronda. Like, who didn't lose to Ronda back in the day? Like, dude, Misha had a great run. Really good run.
I just remember I got to grapple with Misha twice when I was in the Tough House. First time I grappled with her, she guillotined me. And I was like, that was slick. Can you show me how to do that? She showed me how to do it. The second time I grappled with her, got the same guillotine on me again.
Hate that. Love it, but hate it.
Exactly. I'm like, damn it. I saw it. I knew it. And it still happened.
Am I crazy? When did she make 25?
She did, didn't she?
I didn't. Oh, that's right. She fought Lauren Murphy. So she made it one time. And she did make weight. She also didn't look great, though, in that fight. So I do wonder if it took a bit out of her.
Did she win or lose?
She lost to Lauren Murphy, and then she went back up to fight Julia Avila for her last fight. So I wonder. She didn't look great at 25. Like, I definitely think there's girls who can make it, but will struggle to compete because that weight cut is a lot tougher on us ladies than some of the dudes. Not all of us can be Jose Aldo and just look ridiculously amazing at every weight class.
What a legend. All right. Before we get to UFC 308, and I know Gillian wants to talk about UFC 308. This past weekend, we kind of, like I said, we already shat on the PFL. Is there anything from the PFL or, of course, UFC Vegas 99 that jumped at you in a good way? Fluffy Hernandez looked amazing. Charles Johnson looked awesome. That fight was great. Yeah. Brad Katona, Johnny Eblin wins again. What kind of popped at you this weekend?
You guys actually asked me last weekend if I would buy the PFL, and I was like, yeah, I think I would. And then I realized that there's a UFC fight night on at the same time, and I was like, I'll go that way. So I didn't watch the PFL. I watched the UFC, and like you guys said, I think the most spectacular performance of the night was the main event. Anthony Hernandez just looked amazing. Just constant pressure flowing. It was beautiful to watch.
He's a very underrated guy in that division. I'm very interested to see him get a tougher, like, to start working up the rankings.
Oh yeah, no, I was thoroughly impressed by that fight, and yeah, I think that was the one that I gotta say, no matter what, can't read that there.
Yeah, I can't. Did you bet?
Bet on Anthony Hernandez. It was like the most locked thing ever. Am I right? Like, I've been learning this from you guys, like, and I talked to so many people. They just said it was the best, like matchup. Like Pereira, like Michelle is like good but flashy, and Anthony is
He
like
gets tired.
Yeah, exactly. He gets tired. Fluffy's the opposite of that. He's like, I'm gonna track you down, run you down. It was just one of those, like, it was the best matchup. And so, yeah, maybe I had a little wager on Fluffy. Maybe.
I was gonna say the other fight that I think I can't help but love is Darren Elkins. Love to watch him fight every single time.
I forgot he was still fighting, and then I saw him on this card. I was like, oh, there you are.
Every single time, it's an entertaining fight. It's a great fight.
He's one of those guys, if you can't, like, you get tired beating his ass, and he just comes back from the dead. I feel like
amazing
he's
how
unfinishable.
He just constantly, he's like out of bad positions, just working constantly. And it's like, it really is something that's just so difficult to deal with.
Oh, it's got to be disheartening too. Like, it's like, why won't you go away?
Exactly.
Right. Good question by Sean Sterling, but I'm not going to lie. I think me and El, we talked about this beforehand. Kyler Phillips versus Rob Font. Rob Font was a big underdog. I thought Phillips was going to win that fight too. Like, I thought he looked phenomenal over the last year, 2 years. I was on the side of Phillips. I was impressed with Rob Font. Great third round. Really good.
Phillips looked like he lost a lot of gas too. I'm not sure if he like expected to be able to get him out of there earlier or exactly what, because I didn't look like he was expending too much energy early in the fight, but he just didn't. He usually has a pretty good pace, and he didn't seem to be able to keep that, which I will say Font did a much better job getting up off his back. And holding and being able to hold somebody down, like when they're not trying to get up. It's way less energy expended than when you have to keep mat returning them and keep shooting. So I props to him for the get up. The get up looked phenomenal, and his boxing always looks great.
I was gonna say, every time I watch Rob Font, I don't think I'm more impressed with anybody than just the clean punches, clean 1-2s. I don't think anybody in the game does it better.
Such a sharp jab.
Exactly.
I know maybe, I know it's different weight classes, but still on the female side. And I got to ask you this question. I know you said you didn't see it or watch it live, but Chris Cyborg wins again, another younger champion. She's been in 5 major organizations. She's won the championship in every organization she's went to. Like I said off air, like I've never talked to her. Like, I don't have a relationship at all with Cyborg. Huge Kayla person. I like Amanda. Like, I like all these other girls way more. But like, I got to give her the respect of her just keep on winning and winning. She's been around forever. Like, what's your thoughts on Cyborg winning that fight?
Oh yeah, I've never been able to take that away from her. I feel like people always are like, I don't know, touchy on the Cyborg subject. I think she's one of the greatest female bantamweights. The only person I would put over her is Amanda. And obviously, like, they settled it in the cage. I think that's like,
well, she's never made 35, right?
Or 45.
Right? I was gonna say
45.
I don't think she could make 45. Probably not.
I don't think she's ever made 35.
Quick, so G, you just said something so, like, it's like a polarizing point or topic. If you think so they fought, Amanda and Cyborg fought, but everything else that Cyborg has done, everything in Amanda, and I know that's probably a bad analogy because Amanda's done, of course, all the same as Cyborg, maybe even more. Like, I agree, Amanda's the greatest I've ever seen. But my point maybe more about Max Holloway to Volkanovski. Like, just because the one person like Volkanovski owns Holloway, but everything else that Holloway's done as a featherweight, can you never get over that person in a like better list because you lost to that person? Does that make sense? Because what I'm getting at is Max losing a Volk and Cyborg losing Amanda. Can they ever get above that person ever in a best list?
I think Max might have an opportunity too, just because he still has so much longer left in his career. Okay. It's like Cyborg, I feel like she's kind of at the end of her career. It's like she isn't going to grow. Even when she fought Amanda, it was a couple of years ago. It wasn't like she's kind of been this. You get to a certain level, and I feel like you don't really see people like making huge leaps in games at that point. She kind of was already at her best, and like she's made some improvements since then. But it's not like we've seen a completely different fighter. So I feel like you kind of got the best Cyborg versus the best Amanda. And Amanda was just levels and levels above, you know.
Yeah.
She just completely outclassed her when it came down to it, where it's like Max still has years and years ahead. I always forget like how young Max
I
is.
know, it's crazy. Crazy.
He's just been around for so long, but it's like Max has a lot of time in the game to still really solidify his name. I feel like maybe further than Volk.
He also had much closer fights with Volk than Cyborg had with
Exactly.
Amanda. So
Yeah, that as well. And like I said, it was just two different levels when you saw Cyborg versus Amanda.
Such a good point. And like back to the Holloway and being young thing, and I know we're getting there. We're almost there, guys. UFC 308, 5 days away. He's still so damn young, and he's training much different. And I think if Max does that, hey guys, I'm going to fight once a year, maybe 2 times if it's like March, and then what he's doing now, like November, October, like if he can do kind of the bullet points of the end of the year, and if he kind of trains better, like dude, we can have like 9 more epic Max Holloway fights. Like we really could have another 4 or 5 years of Max Holloway if he fights Dustin again, Volk again, whoever's the next, featherweight. We really can have a lot of Holloway fights left.
that's true.
Oh yeah, no, I'm like I said, it with someone like him, he's someone I always, whenever his age comes up on the screen, I'm like, holy shit, he's that young.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. All right, let's get into it. UFC 308. Let's hit one fight before that big main event. Chimaev and Robert Whittaker, everyone's favorite fighter. Where are you guys on this? I think we finally made it. We're here fight week. I don't want to knock on wood, but I think these guys are.
I think he's fighting. I think he's
fighting. I think he's
that
here.
was gonna be my question. I was gonna be like, does it happen?
Yes, it's happening. It's happening.
I saw so many funny memes. It was like when Chimaev realizes he only has 7 days to pull out of UFC 308, and it's like,
yeah.
I think it's happening.
Have you seen him? He looks different. Like, have you seen Chimaev this week?
No, I haven't seen
a little.
Or anything.
He looks different. Like, I can't put my finger on it. Like, we've all been in different relationships or different gyms or whatever. He looks like toned
I'm
down.
Come right back, Dave. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. Like, Chimaev just looks like he's in a good head spot, G.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything of him this week, but I don't like with him. It's just are we gonna get him? That's really the thing, and it's like I don't know. I also feel like he hasn't necessarily proved himself again. Like there's been like flukes around everything. Every big fight that he's had a fluke around it. So it's like this is the first. Robert Whittaker's had a full camp, been able to prepare for him. He's had a full camp, been able to prepare. So I think this is really like the true like Chimaev. Like we'll get to see like, is he at that level?
Totally agree. And this fight was announced. You know me, I'm a big Robert Whittaker guy. Love his style, love his personality. I even like the matchup and all that stuff. And everyone thinks he's going to win in the later rounds. And the closer it gets to it, I foresee the Dricus Duplessis to Whittaker. Like, I think Chimaev is a little bit like that. Very fast, very quick, kind of smothering, especially at the beginning. And that's what Dricus did to Robert Whittaker. Like, he dominated them for 7 minutes and the fight was over. Like, I thought I had Whittaker. I'm starting to lean a little bit towards Chimaev.
I think I'm still leaning towards Whittaker on this one.
Okay.
But I'm not counting Chimaev out. Like I still think like he gave Gilbert a war, and I think it was short notice for Gilbert, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think so. That was Jacksonville. Who was he supposed to fight? I don't know. Yeah.
I just remember every single fight that it's like, yeah, he fought this guy, but
yeah.
So even like he gave Gilbert a good fight though, and showed the technique he's capable of, and I think he will be able to hang in there with Robert just fine. But I do think Robert's going to be able to get the edge over him.
Yeah, like I said, this comment. You're mute.
Especially over 5 rounds. That's what I was going to say. I don't know if you guys were already talking about that.
Yeah, that's where we were at. So I don't know if you saw that comment. Hey, I'm telling you, he's that new guy. He looks leaner, and not even that. Like, he just looks more reserved. Like, he just looks. I know people that they get married or they have a kid and like they change, like they're whatever, and he looks in a better spot. We'll see on weigh-in day if he's crazy or whatever, but he looks like in a better spot.
My beef, and this is something Grant pointed out to me the other day. If you go through his page, every time he posts a sparring round, he's always posting. It's always some like out of shape guy that nobody's heard of, or somebody way smaller than him. I don't know. I wonder. I guess I wonder who his camp is. I wonder who his training partner is.
Sure.
Who's pushing him at the level that a guy like Robert Whitaker is going to be pushing him. That's my one question mark for Chimaev.
I totally concur, and the thing I said just to G right before you got back on, I was on Whitaker the whole time. I just switched over. I think Chimaev's going to win. I see Chimaev doing what Dricus du Plessis did to Whitaker, and that's what Chimaev can do. Like blitz him very fast, very quick, smother in 6 minutes, fight over. So I don't know.
You think so? Oh, you think he'll finish him? So you feel like he won't need the cardio?
Correct.
That Dricus
Correct.
has.
Yeah,
Dricus has the pace, though, that he's not afraid to get tired either. So he knows he can push that pace.
Sure.
And I do wonder if Chimaev will be like more measured because he's afraid of getting tired over 5 rounds.
Yeah, no, very true. Very true. All right. We finally made it. G's been on for 20 minutes. She's like, can we just talk about Max Holloway? And
no, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
Oh, no, because I'm like, I love Max, but I don't think it's going to go that way. So, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, so you got Ilya.
I think it's a close fight.
I do think it's a close fight. Like, honest, Max is like top for me. I'm like, I love him more than anything. Like, huge fangirl. I don't want to see him lose. And that's why I'm like, I do think Ilya is so talented everywhere, though. His boxing, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, just all around. I don't know if there is anybody more well-rounded than him, you know? Wow. He really is just he is so talented, and it's going to be a rough fight to watch.
And I think go ahead, Dave.
Just real quick, Elle, and I think you'll like this. I am the biggest Gillian and Grant Dawson fan ever. They're my absolute 2 favorites in the world. Right behind them is Dustin Poirier. I love me some Dustin. You know this, Elle. And then I started like looking through Max Holloway, and I'm like, guys, I love G. I love Grant. But if there's one fighter I'm going to watch on this world, it's Max Holloway. Like his like resume is the best resume, I think, in UFC history. Like who he fights, how he fights him. I think everyone forgets how goddamn good that fight was with Yair Rodriguez. That was the most insane fight ever. The domination of Calvin Kattar, even the loss to Poirier was insane. Arnold Allen, like there's so many, all the Volk fights, how he dominated Jose Aldo in his prime. Like, yeah, dude, so good.
There's two asterisks. One, have you seen how Max is looking through the weight cut? So he's looking a little rough. He's looking like
I feel like that's typical for Max, though.
That's typical. However, he already has tough weight cuts to 145. And the first time we saw him fight at lightweight against Dustin, he did not look like a lightweight. He still looked much smaller.
Oh, so
last time when we saw him fight Gaethje, he looked massive. Yeah. He looked like a real lightweight. So is that weight cut even harder than it usually is? Because he's a big dude for 145. So is the weight cut even harder than it already is? Do we get I am all about Max has never been dropped. Like that's always my selling point on every Max Holloway fight ever. Ilya's boxing is so good. It's so good. And the way Volk beat Max, he didn't have better boxing than Max, but he mixed everything up so well. And I feel like Ilya can do that too, but he also has really good boxing. So I'm scared for Max. I think it's a very close fight. I'm not picking a winner. I refuse.
Both of you guys are saying Ilya. Both of you.
I said it's a close fight. I said I'm not picking a winner.
I'm watching like this.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. I think if he can't put Max away, I do think it'll be hard for him to win a decision. I don't know. He can win a decision, but I feel like if he doesn't knock out Max, which is very difficult. Nobody's ever done it.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, I think it's hard. Max is a really hard guy to outwork over 5 rounds, especially if it's a boxing match. Like if they're trading just boxing and Ilya isn't able to incorporate as much wrestling. But man, yeah.
The one time I'm going all in on Max Holloway, I get this from both of you.
I'm torn. I am right split down the middle on this fight. I'm Switzerland.
So, I'm siding Ilya, but I would want to see Max win more than anything. Like that would make my night if Max won.
I think I'm really the same as G. I just don't want to admit it. So.
With that being said, El, like you're saying how Topuria is going to win and how can Max beat Ilya?
I think if Ilya is unable to set up the wrestling and it strictly plays out on the feet, Max has some of the best boxing in the UFC. He really does. He's not as powerful as Ilya though.
Right.
But if he can stay at the end, and that's the problem is I feel like this would almost have to be a gun-shy Ilya for Max to win this fight.
So you're saying like Max is going to kind of like jab him and just kind of stick it out.
Or maybe he carries a little more power this time because he put on some muscle when he was trying to get up to lightweight. Like maybe because he looked like he was hitting Gaethje way harder than we normally see him hit guys. Like, so maybe there's something there. I don't know. It's really hard for me to see Max's victory unless it's just a really close split decision. I could see that maybe.
You ready for this? This is my one thing on Max, and Dana White said it about Alex. So everyone thought all of a sudden Roundtree was winning that fight. All of a sudden they thought like Alex just took over. Alex took over by calf kicks. Like that's what started everything. And even Dana's like, dude, people don't realize he started calf kicking him for multiple rounds, got a couple bad ones, and
Chipped
then all
away.
of a sudden Roundtree just couldn't move anymore. He was dead set cement, and then that's when Alex took over. I think Max can calf kick the crap out of Ilya. Because to me, Ilya, like you said, the boxing base, he's so strong in it. And I've seen it. I think it was not the Jai Herbert fight. Maybe it was the Jai Herbert fight. I saw Ilya get kicked in the calf a couple times. And I think if Max Holloway's doing that, multiple rounds, all of a sudden the fourth round, Ilya's just stuck.
Does he really? I'm trying to think if he really.
That's what I'm like, is that really a tool of
He
Max's,
calf
though?
kicks fast, but he doesn't calf kick like Pereira. I think Pereira has a very special calf kick.
Yeah.
And with Ilya, you also have to worry about the timing of these big overhands. And that's something when you throw a low kicks, like that's a way guys counter. They'll eat the calf and still come over top. I don't know. He does kick quickly to the calf, but
yeah,
he doesn't really kick as much as he used to either, though. So I don't know if that's a choice or what exactly, but
no one does after seeing Chris Weidman. No
point.
one kicks like that anymore.
Right?
I'm
terrified.
One last thing for G, and then we're going to bring in our last person because G has, I think, called his fight, and he's becoming a pro fighter this weekend, G. So shout out to our guy coming on, Cam Bennett coming on. Last thing, G, we're 2.5 weeks away from the fight. Maybe this is the last time talking to you. We might talk to you one more time. Maybe a little 308 kind of recap in your last little talk, and then we get close to that fight time. How's everything? How are you? It seems like you said you said the word excited 8 times. Like we're almost there. We're almost to fight night.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit excited.
Okay.
I know. I feel great. I feel more than ready. I feel like everything's just coming together. Last week, Dean texted me. He's like, I don't think there's anything else we can work on. It's just keeping consistency. And that's how I feel like it's like, I feel ready. If I fought tomorrow, I feel ready to take it on. It's just about being consistent over these next couple of weeks. And just, it's just been really an ideal camp, and the weight's good and everything's just on point, and I can't wait to perform.
I love it. I love it. Well, I hope you know I've been putting in all the work too. This is 0 sugar in my Dunkin' Donuts coffee. So we're on the team. I want our record to keep on going. But like I said, real quick, nice comment. They say, good luck in your fight, Jillian. You sound locked in. Let's get the fourth person. I really do believe Jillian and I called one of the